Good day. I am Maria Corazon, a Borbon. The title of my study is the evaluation on the compliance of Region 4A teachers with Continuing Professional Development Act of 2016, or also known as RA 10912 Implementation, Basis for Policy Enhancement. Philippine Constitution, Article 2, Section 17 state that the state shall give priority to education, science and technology, arts, culture and sports to foster patriotism and nationalism, accelerate social progress, and promote total human liberation and development. While Republic Act No. 7836, also known as the Philippine Teachers Professionalization Act of 1994, aims to strengthen the regulation and supervision of the practice teaching in the Philippines and prescription of a licensure examination for teachers. While the Magna Carta for Public School Teachers, otherwise known as Republic Act No. 4670, envisioned to provide programs for the promotion and improvement of well-being and economic status of public school teachers. The recent Republic Act No. 7784 is an act which stipulates to strengthen teacher education in the Philippines, thus establishing centers of excellence and creating a Teacher Education Council. A 10912 or CPD Act of 2016 mandates the enhancement and upgrading of the professional competence according to practices of international standards. The PRC, as it implements RA 10912, has approved the application of the DepEd through NAIAP as the accredited CPD provider for teachers through Resolution No. 1032, Series of 2017 with accreditation number 2017-115. LAC session also part of the accreditation. But these dilemmas are in no way different to that are experienced by the professional around the world, such as poor or non-participation of teachers in CPD activities, lack of interest by some educators, lack of support by the school management, the cost of travel and cover, the teacher's attitude, especially in not taking advantage of the CPD opportunities, or because there is a reluctance on the part of the teachers to acknowledge the need for development. Thus, this study wants to explore the current scenarios on the implementation of CPD Act in Region 4A. For this study, the conceptual framework, the input, are the demographic profile of the respondents, understanding the practice of the CPD among professional teachers, the approaches in the implementation of CPD law, and activities for the accruement of CPD credit points. For the process, I used the survey and interview, the focus group discussion, and the triangulation, which involves the quantitative and the qualitative method. For the output is the policy recommendation to enhance implementation of RA 10912 or CPD law. This study would be significant to the following group. First, the PRC as a basis for further review of the current implementation of CPD law for teachers to come up with an improved implementation plan. Navigate to continue to commission the high-quality learning and development activities from identified and accredited training providers. And also, measuring the quality and impact of CPD is essential to understand its efficacy as well as to demonstrate its more immediate value to individual professionals and employers. This would also be significant to the DepEd Human Resource and Training Development, for it can provide a baseline data on the CPD practices for teachers. This data or the result of the study could give them valuable information about the CPD activities that teachers were engaged to help them comply with the CPD law. The result also helps to aspire to integrate the competently and practiced innovation in CPD and respond to professional demands of the teachers. This study would also be significant to the CPD providers because it can provide with a clear idea on how to plan and design CPD activities that will be offered to help address the teacher's IPPD. And also, they must develop activities and trainings which promote confidence, creativity, flexibility, capability, and performance. While for the teachers, this study aimed to provide an eye-opener and ideas so that teachers would understand fully how their needs for the learners as well as for the instruction will be bridged on them. Encourage teacher also to choose processes, whether intuitive or deliberate, individual or social, that could result in specific changes in their professional knowledge, skills, attitudes, belief, or action. Hopefully, this study would also benefit the student since further planning and development for the students will be involved. Broader changes that take place over a long period, resulting in qualitative shifts in aspects of teacher professionalism through CPD may be cascaded for the betterment of students' learning. Lastly, this could benefit the researchers as a source of related theoretical underpinnings for their future studies, and they may also further improve or add additional inputs to the policy recommendations endeavored as a terminal aim of the present research. For the methodology, I used the descriptive research method. The respondents of the study were the teachers and school heads from the large schools in Region 4A Calabarzon, coming from the 5 schools division of Laguna, Quezon, San Pablo City, Tayabas City, and Lucena City. The schools chosen were the best and the better performing schools. The number of respondents was computed using the Cochrane formula. For the research instrument, I used a research-made questionnaire checklist where that checklist underwent a series of validation. For the statistical treatment, I used the frequency and percentage and median in the treatment of data and the Kruskal-Wallis H-test and Mann-Whitney U-test to find the significance of some related data. As to compliance to research ethics, I observed honesty, objectivity, respect for intellectual property, and confidentiality. After the data gathering, these are the findings of my study. The respondents are generally 31 to 40 years old, which is 119 or 29.8%. Mostly female, 323 or 80.8%. They are married, 295 or 73.8%. And completed their bachelor's degree, which is 234 or 58.5%. They have rendered 10 to 20 years and just renewed their PRC ID on 2019, which is 167 or 41.8%. As to the extent of the CPD law implementation for respondents' evaluation in terms of the following areas, these are the findings. The respondents agree on that they have adequate understanding of RA 10912 or the CPD law, but generally disagree on the sponsors of CPD activities participation, particularly the Canteen Fund and Parents Teachers Association voluntary contribution in sponsoring their professionals' requirement to afford CPD activities. The respondents generally agree on the benefits of undertaking the CPD. The respondents generally agree on the reasons for attending to CPD activities in as much as the reason for not attending to CPD activities. They agree on the motivation for CPD activities or program participation and the support by the DepEd to ensure that teachers comply with CPD law. Respondents just sometimes engage in CPD programs for the past 3 years, and very often, the conventional approaches like lecture, demonstration lesson, and workshop are the modes of the CPD program's delivery, relatively planned and proactively processed by facilitators in the CPD providers. The respondents generally rarely accrued CPD points from attended activities, as they rarely become a facilitator, moderator, resource speaker, trainer, demonstration teachers, panelist, reactor, and monitor. It is also rare that they become resource speaker only when there is inset or invitation for speaking engagement in other school. They generally never accrued CPD points from academic track. The respondents generally rarely accrued CPD points from self-directed training offered by non-accredited CPD providers, from self-directed training offered by non-accredited CPD providers, and from productive scholarship. They perceive that the training programs offered by the CPD providers very often address their IPPD needs. The respondents generally rated the CPD providers where CPD credit units are earned as sometimes. They generally strongly disagree with the supporting documents for CPD credit points, as only certificate of attendance and appreciation are commonly presented, since most of the professionals opt to participate in seminars and trainings than do other professional development activities. As to the statement, is there a significant difference on the evaluation of the implementation of CPD law by the respondents when they are grouped? The findings: understanding of CPD law and its current practices and approaches in the implementation of CPD law are evaluated by the respondents differently, considering their age, highest educational attainment, and length of service, but have relatively similar evaluation on the provision therein when respondents are grouped according to sex, civil status, and last renewal of their PRC ID. However, on the activities for accruement of CPD credit points, significant difference in the evaluation is only noted when respondents are grouped according to highest educational attainment and length of service. For the conclusion, the teachers' respondents are generally 31 to 40 years old, female, married with bachelor's degree, rendered relatively short length of service, and renewed their PRC license just recently. The respondents understand the law before its implementation, since they have knowledge and proper information of the law. Much of the CPD activities teachers attend to are advanced or graduate studies, and those which are closely related to their professional practice, such as inset and LAC sessions. The CPD training programs are proven to be significant and responsive to the professionals, though most of them just use the inset-based CPD points. The respondents' age, highest educational attainment, and length of services are generally the sources of difference in their evaluation of the compliance of the CPD law in contrast to sex, civil status, and last renewal of the PRC ID. Thank you.